What's up? How you doing? Here we are, Tuesday. Today is a little bit on the warm side. Very, very, very slight breeze going from east to west. But, you know, it's comfortable. It's not that bad. It's dry. We don't have that ridiculous humidity going on. When I was a kid, very hard to sleep in my house in the summertime. My father every year would say, next year definitely we're going to get air conditioning. And in those days when I was growing up, air conditioning was not that common in homes. You know, a lot of people, they thought it was a waste of energy. They thought, maybe put a fan, open up a window. But it really took away from your sleep. Your sleep suffered. But yeah, my father every year, and he wanted to do the central. So I would say to him, well, we didn't get central. What about we get one of those things that you put in the window? Each room has its own. He goes, no, I don't want to do that. He goes, I want to do the whole house. So it was all or nothing. Anyway, I would sit in my room in the summer. Very humid. It's like 90+% humidity. And you'd have the windows open. You'd stick your head outside, half body in, half out. And outside was nice and cool at night, like, 1 o'clock in the morning. It was, had a bit of a cool sensation to it. But inside, it was like the humidity did not want to leave the room. So I got a couple of fans, put them on each window. One would pull out and the other one would pull in. And that kind of helped a little bit. So eventually, I got a little bit older. They ended up getting one of those units that go in the window. And my parents thought back then that if you put a good size AC unit in the window and you turned it on and left it to run for a while, and then you opened up all the doors in the house, the whole house would eventually cool down based on that one. I go, no, it doesn't work that way. So went out to Vegas many years ago, and I didn't have a lot of money back then, so I ended up getting this really cheap hotel. It was $5 a night. They had a sign outside, $5 a night. I go, oh, that's not bad, $5. So I get the room, and it was like it almost looked like a film set. So it had these weird beds, like I was the king of Managua sleeping in there. And then they had these rooms. It was all like mazes to get to the bathroom, to get to the other side. Anyway, so I go, they must have AC in here, because Vegas was like 100+ degrees outside. And what do I find? I go to the window and they had a fan. It's like about that size fan where the window is, and underneath the fan they had a tray. And I said, oh, that's a cool thing. And then it had directions underneath. It said, go fill up the bucket. There was a bucket right next to that window. Fill it up with ice. Pour the ice into the tray and turn on the fan. And that was the AC. So what choice did I have? That's what I did. I got ice, filled up the tray. It was like a U-shaped tray, and turned on the fan, and I felt a little bit of a cool breeze on me. But obviously if that really worked, they wouldn't have invented air conditioners. So the funny thing about that night was that there was a severe thunderstorm in Vegas, pouring, and the place leaked. But what do you expect for $5? The only thing I can say that in those days did not exist versus these days, and I haven't encountered them in any hotel yet because I search, but bed bugs. They had the chemicals back then that would kill them, and now they eliminated the chemicals, and so they've made a comeback. But in those days, nobody worried about bed bugs. Matter of fact, we didn't even know if the expression was true. They would say, was that sweet dreams, don't let the bed bugs bite, something like that. We thought that was just a made up, fantasy thing. We didn't know that there was an actual insect that would come out at night and eat you alive. Didn't know that. Now you hear it on the news all the time, but back then it didn't exist. I know prior to back then, in the old days, like when the Waltons were around, those things were all over the place. They should have had a realistic episode where the Waltons, John Boy wakes up with all these like mosquito-looking bites on his face, and then they should have said it was bed bugs. But yeah, I haven't seen any. Every hotel I go to, I have a flashlight, and I investigate the whole place. I take everything apart. I look underneath with my flashlight. I look behind the backboard. I look under the sheets, everywhere. So, you know, you don't want to pick those things up. So, that's it for that. Got a good book here. Highly recommend. Look at that. 81 Days Below Zero. True story. Dude gets lost in the woods of Alaska, and this is a story about a man who survives for, I think, 12 weeks. Leon Crane. Great book. They should make a movie out of this. It's like Alone on steroids. I don't know if I feel like making some coffee right now. It's hot. I could make iced coffee, but then I'd have to let it cool down for a bit to add the ice. Otherwise, the ice just melts and dilutes the coffee. Yeah, now we have AC, but we don't really need it because out here, it's dry. It's not that extreme humidity like the East Coast, all the way from the north of Canada all the way down to the tip of Florida. Very humid. And you know, Texas is that way. A lot of places are like that. Here, like chopped meat. Oh, I see. Anyway, I may make some coffee. If this video ends right here, that means I decided not to. If it continues, that means, as you see, I'll be making the coffee. So, we'll see. Alright, I'm back. I decided to make some coffee. Even though it's hot out, or warm at least, I'm going to make hot coffee. So today we're going to use Crystal Geyser natural spring water. Bottled at the source. I don't even know if it even says where the I don't know where the source is. That's the problem. Does it say here? Maybe you have to go online to find out. I don't know. Looks like Colorado. So, yeah, I guess you have to go online. Anyway, we're going to use this water, and we're going to use this coffee again. I liked it so much when I tried it yesterday that I'm going to try it again today. When I hear that sound, Harley Davidsons that have the exaggerated muffler sound, or lack of muffler, it reminds me of the days when I was growing up. Nighttime, summertime especially, you would hear one of those things roaring by your house at, like, you know, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I could smell the fumes of that right now. Like the old days. Anyway, we're gonna put the recommended amount, which is one of these. Because it's only me having it. So that's it. That's it. Delicious. So we close it up. Give it some rotations here. Feels like it's done. Give it a couple of extra. Yeah, it's done. All the way. That smells fantastic. So that's the cup. Stainless steel, or as my mother says, stained steel. Nobody taught her that it's stainless. She calls it stained steel. So we'll put some nice water in here. All right. Then you take this thing, put it in here, take the coffee itself. Brings me back to the old days in the coffee house. Coffee house pew. All right, now we take this. All right, and now we get the fire going here. So the other day I upgraded my slingshots. My slingshot. It's only one. But I think that these are a bit too heavy duty-ish. These are very, I mean, after the 15th time of pulling it back like this, gets to feel like you're doing a workout. Some of those bands have like 5 bands. That's what it feels like. These are very, very strong, very thick. It's these 2 fingers, you know, that do all the work. I mean, these have to grab onto the projectile, and you don't grab from the front because it throws off the aim. You grab on and pull. But I don't know, these are very, very strong. I think if I were trying to go after a wild hog or something, grab one of these. So we'll see. I have other ones. There's some really flimsy ones that, you know, you got to pull back here somewhere to get some momentum going. And these right here, you got to pull a little bit. But it actually feels like this thing's gonna. So we'll see what happens. I'll test them out in the desert. My great-grandmother, many years ago, was given a pair of slingshots. Slingshot. I don't know why I say shots. But she was given a pair of these, and I don't know, in her mind, she didn't realize it was this way. She did it this way. And released it and busted up her glasses. And of course, her grandkids, which would be, you know, like my father and his brothers, they didn't stop her. Today they'd have their cameras out, you know, the iPhone, and they'd videotape that and it'd be all over the internet. But yeah, I don't know, I mean, these feel very, very, very difficult to pull. And then you have this thing here, which is full of metal projectile. Now, let's see. Wow. Wow, very impressive. It hit a piece of wood, very thin stick, and it broke a piece off the side. So we'll see what happens. I actually have one of those things that you that grabs on here. Get that. It's done. It's done. I'm gonna go get a little bit of sugar and a little bit of milk. All right, I'm back. Got milk, sugar, teaspoon. So that's you know, one little teaspoon. Wow. Have to slow down. Oh, that looks good. You know, the thing about sugar, it's much better than all the other junk that sweetens your beverages. For example, if you put all the artificial crap, it has an aftertaste, and you know, what are you gaining? I mean, there's like 15 calories in this. Walk around the house a couple of times, you'll burn it off. So people will put that junk sweetener, sweet and low, whatever. And then you have the other stuff. They make it from different plants. Has an aftertaste. You can taste it. Sugar is neutral. You don't taste it. You taste the actual beverage. Honey, you know, honey's great with tea, but if you add it to other, you know, if you want to sweeten coffee, you know anybody who puts honey in their coffee? I don't think so. Speaking of honey, that royal jelly. Wow. Very good, very hot, because I made it with fire. So, royal jelly. My grandmother would eat that, and she was able to bend horseshoes. But royal jelly is very expensive. I mean, it's cheaper now because most of it comes from China. But it has to be kept frozen the entire trip. If it's not frozen for, you know, a period of time, it spoils. So I don't know, can you trust it? They ship it over, it unfreezes at some point, then they refreeze it, they give it to you. How do you know? I mean, is there a way of testing it? I don't think so. Not that I have. But it's about $100 to about $120 per kilo. And once you mix it in with honey, then you don't have to freeze it. It's good. The honey will preserve it. But it's that transportation thing. Now, what happens, a lot of places here will sell it. If it's a store, you go, you pick it up from the freezer or whatever, the refrigerator. But if they ship it to you, they ship it to you in blocks of dry ice. And then you will get it within 24 hours and put it in your freezer or mix it with the honey. I don't know if the benefits are dramatic like they are with the queen bee. I mean, the queen bee becomes very large, lives many times the lifespan of the other average worker bees. But I don't know if that translates into a human. You know, if a human eats that, will they have the benefits? They may. I don't know. I know they've discovered that royal jelly has a high dose of B5, the pantothenic acid. and that's associated with you know, allowing your body to be more energetic to a point. So one time, I've tried royal jelly a few times, not in recent times, but way back, and I never tried it plain, like just royal jelly alone without mixing it in honey. And honey, it tastes great. You mix it in there, it's all white, and it has a really nice flavor. But on its own, it's a little bit on the, you know, disgusting side. And it's a tedious process to extract it. I saw this video where they have this little, you know, it's like a toothpick, and they pull it out, and it's like a drop at a time, and they fill up a thing like this. But, you know, some people, they say, you know, they notice a difference in their health. Now, I've never had it long enough to notice a difference. I wasn't like, you know, doing it for, you know, months and months and then jumping 30 feet in the air. That didn't happen. I didn't notice a difference. But then again, I didn't do it for, you know, a long time. Royal jelly. And the honey, you know, I go on the desert and they have desert honey. Very, very delicious. Then there's orange blossom honey. They have eucalyptus honey. But honey, you know, you can only put in certain things. Like I said, coffee and honey do not go well together. Yeah, I feel the heat from the outside and the heat from the inside. I'm kind of craving an episode of Gilligan's Island. I used to watch that a lot, Gilligan's Island. You know, in reality, Ginger and Mary Ann, they would have like 7, 8 kids apiece on that island. Not lovey. And I've made a video on this before. You know, a lot of people that like, they always ask the question, Ginger or Mary Ann, and you know what they mean by that. I don't know. For me, it's not difficult. Ginger all the way. Mary Ann, you know, Mary Ann's good, but given the choice between one or the other, Ginger. I know people, they pick Mary Ann, I don't know, farmer's daughter syndrome, I don't know, but you know, for me, Ginger is the obvious choice. So anyway, I'm going to enjoy my cup of coffee, and I'm signing out for now.